Hello and welcome back to my channel where I like to have fun with all things beauty while being critical about what I accept into my collection. Today I am doing a Nomad Chicago palette first impression. So as you can tell, I tried to be a little bit more fun for this one. I tried to dress up in a little bit of a 1920s getup, but if you can't tell, I can't do anything with my hair. Like, my hair is always my pain point every year for Halloween when I'm dressing up, no matter what the costume is. I always get to the hair and I kind of give up. A few years ago, I really put my heart and soul into trying to make wigs work, but I couldn't do that either. So unfortunately, you have to use your imagination when it comes to the hair, but I did get the headpiece, so I'm not even sure that's on right. I'll probably take all of this off before the end of the video, but regardless, I did make an attempt. I do really love the themes that Nomad does. You know, I'm not somebody who is going to get taken by an IP collab generally, but travel and the natural beauty of the world around us, like, that gets my heart every time. So even when they first came out, I remember thinking, like, I'm in trouble because this brand is doing everything that I would do if I had unlimited resources. I would travel the world and take photos and make beautiful art. So I am 100% biased to like these palettes. That being said, the Nomad formula has not always been a home run for me. I have a handful of their earlier palettes and I don't love them. So I really don't reach for those anymore. But I'm happy to say that every palette that they've come out with in the last couple of years really has been excellent. And where I feel like in the past, I used to have to really wait to see as many reviews as I could get my hands on before purchasing a palette, I feel a lot better about just sort of blind buying based on the color story. And at least recently, I have not been disappointed. This palette is no different. Typically, I like to wait until I have at least a handful of looks to show you in B-roll. I'm not doing that this time for a couple of reasons. Number one was just that I was really excited to make this video. I felt like I waited a long time for this palette, even though that's not actually true, and we had two major hurricanes in Florida, so if the mail was a little bit late, like, that's to be expected. But this actually came via the United States Post Office at 10 o'clock at night last night. I got the notification on my phone that it was coming yesterday, and I actually waited to put makeup on. I didn't put any makeup on. I waited until 8:30 at night, and then I was like, okay, if the mail hasn't come by now, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna come. I mean, we get the mail late sometimes, but I was pretty confident that 8:30 was a safe cutoff. Go on with my night, forget all about it. All of a sudden, at 9:50, I get a notification on my phone saying that it's just been delivered. I almost didn't believe it. So I waited a few minutes, and then around 10 p.m. I went out to the mailbox, and sure enough, that was accurate. And we got a whole pile of mail at almost 10 p.m. Now, it's only October. It's not like the holiday crazy season yet, so I don't really know what's going on at my post office. I do hope all of the employees are okay and people are getting paid correctly and not overworked. I don't know why they're delivering that late, but anyway, I got the palette. I immediately dropped everything and did swatches, and I'm just gonna put this video up because frankly, I have a lot on my plate in the next couple weeks, so this being a shorter video kind of just made sense for me right now. I filmed like a 2-hour Sephora trying everything on my face favorites video. That is going to be an absolute nightmare to edit. So because of that, I didn't want to wait until I had that finished to get another video out there. So I'm just going to do this quick and dirty first impressions. You know, later on when I do have more looks, I plan on having this in a roundup. When I do my yearly roundups at the end of the year, I will show more looks then, and I will have more complete thoughts at that point. But like I said, I've been using Nomad palettes for a few years now, so I'm fairly confident that the performance is, it's not like there are going to be any huge surprises the more that I use this. The only thing that will be more relevant is the color story itself and how versatile it is and how well it works in my collection compared to other things color story wise. I'm pretty confident that I can, at least at this point, speak a little bit about the formula. So what I'll do right now is I'll cut to the B-roll of the swatches, and then I'll show the close-ups of the eye look that I did today. Okay, we're back. The headpiece had to go. That was way too annoying. I'm really glad I wasn't born in the 20s for a lot of reasons. But anyway, so talking about the formula, these mats are definitely very soft. There's a ton of kick up in the pan, but something that really stood out to me when I was using this today was that this is a formula that can have a lot of kick up and it's still fine. A few days ago, I was using one of my Makeup by Mario palettes because, I don't know, I just wanted to refresh my thoughts on the formula. And those were really soft pressed, both the Ethereal Eyes and the more recent Natural All Matte palette. It's a very soft formula, which, that's not a deal breaker for me. Usually palettes like that tend to blend really well. The difference is in those palettes, the Makeup by Mario formula, it blends away to nothing. It literally disappears. Not only does it disappear, but it leaves patches behind. And it's awful. I'm not even gonna try to think of another way to say that because I know it's an unpopular opinion. So many people love those palettes. I just really don't. Anyway, this is similar. If anything, there might be even more kick up in these pans, but the difference is they don't blend away. They still stick to the lids and are perfectly pigmented, and they blend really well with one another. So I really feel like the mattes in this palette are flawless. I love every single matte. They perform 100% consistently, and they're actually tones that I feel like are really flattering. So I think I'm going to reach for this palette a lot. Something that Nomad always does that I appreciate is they do a really good job always providing a good mix of darker and lighter shades. I contour my eyes every day. That's just how I like to do my eye makeup, so I'm always able to achieve that with just this palette. I never have to reach elsewhere. I appreciate that so much. Aside from the mattes, we have the shimmers and the duochromes. So without overcomplicating it, I think Nomad has a fantastic duochrome, multichrome, whatever formula. Their shimmer formula, though, is not my favorite. It's just not that shimmery and it's a little bit too soft. So I'm jumping in to correct myself here, or at least try to. These two shades that I originally said were just regular shimmers, they are both a little bit multichromy in the right light, duochrome, whatever. I don't know. The formula seems really different to me. It seems more like their more traditional shimmer formula. And when I compare that to other shimmers, like this one from What's Up Beauty, it's just more impactful. That's more what I'm looking for. And the Nomad one is just a little bit more dull. That being said, put on the eyes, it's stunning. I mean, both the pink and the purple are beautiful shades. They just, to me, they stand out as being less special than the other three shimmers in this palette. The purple still wore well and it didn't crease. So I am now taking back what I said about not liking these two shades. I do like them, I just like the other multichrome formula better. When I was swatching these, it was easy for me to see the difference in the formula, and I'll take some B-roll to try to point this out. But the pan embossings for the shimmer shades, they're already gone. I've swatched them one time and they're already gone. That's how soft those shimmers are, but it's only two. It's the shade Chicago Fizz and Aviation, the pinky purple tone and the more purple tone. They're really beautiful colors, but again, not my favorite formula. It doesn't mean I'm not going to use it. I'm absolutely going to use both of those shades. It's not going to keep me from using it, but it's just not that super high octane shimmer that, frankly, that's what I'm looking for in shimmers. But the other three shimmers, the duochromes, the green, the red, and the white, they're really, really, in my opinion, elevated formula. They're more impactful, they're thinner. You can tell immediately just when you touch them that they're a different formula. The embossings in all three of those shades are still very much visible, and I used all three of them today. So I've used them twice as much and they still look new, whereas the other shimmers, you can't even see what the embossings were. So if I were to wrap up the difference in the two different formulas, that pretty much says it all right there. The duochromes are just better. They're thinner, they're more impactful. That's the reason why I love their New Zealand palette so much. I still think from a formula standpoint, their New Zealand palette is their best palette, hands down, no contest. nothing even comes close. The formulas in that palette are impeccable. Obviously, the color story is quite polarizing, but I love it because of the cooler tones included in that palette. I think it's great, but not everyone is going to love something that colorful. So this is a much better option for people who like color, but they don't want to go crazy with it on a daily basis. This is so much more approachable. You can get a ton of neutral looks if you want. You know, today I focused on the purpley mauve mattes. So the Drifter, Violet Hour, Blind Pig, Knock and Speak Easy. I used a little bit of Compone in my outer corner. And I actually started with the shade Prohibition all over my lid. I love when there's a neutral shade included because I do like to always set my base. And I went on top with Southside and I put a little Gin Ricky in my inner corner. And then I can't say the shade name, but the red duochrome, I put that on my lips. So sometimes when I do that, when I put eyeshadow in my lip gloss, it actually makes my lips look a little dry, unfortunately. It's usually something I prefer to do for pictures and not videos because, you know, it settles in my lip lines, but it's a beautiful color. I'm not really huge on red eyeshadow, but the pale green to purple duochrome is unique enough in my collection where that was really the shade that jumped out at this palette and sold me immediately. I really like the Gin Ricky shade as well. I do have some things from Danessa Myricks that are similar, but that's always a flip that I enjoy. And yeah, between the green duochrome and all the mattes in this palette, it was an easy, worthwhile purchase for me. I'm really excited to keep playing with this. And as I do that, I'll definitely keep posting looks on Instagram. So I was just sitting down editing and I just wanted to pop in to talk really quickly about Instagram. I noticed like 2 weeks ago that sometimes people edit their photos, and while that's in no way news to me, what I didn't expect was to see people messing with the saturation when they're reviewing eyeshadow. Like, to me, that's just insane. It's so insane, it didn't occur to me that that was even possible. I actually noticed it when I saw somebody review a palette that I own, and I was looking at her looks, and not only did she post the look, but she posted like a step-by-step how she got the look, and I tried it and I couldn't achieve that. And my only conclusion was that she was using a different palette altogether because nothing else made sense until it finally occurred to me that she was just altering the saturation of her photos. So once I became aware of that, I started noticing it from other creators, and I just think that's so wrong. It's totally fine if you're just taking artistic photos and you're just posting looks. I could care less. But if you're reviewing a palette, like, that's just misleading. And I don't think a lot of people do that. I've only really seen it happen with a handful of creators, usually smaller creators reviewing indie eyeshadows, and, you know, I guess they get away with it. I don't think bigger creators would get away with it. But regardless, because I'm aware of that now, I just wanted to come on here and say I will not do that. I will never do that. I really don't edit my photos. I use my phone and I take pictures in my bathroom lighting and in my hallway where I have both natural light and I also have an overhead light that is supposed to mimic sunlight. So those are the two areas of my house where I take my photos. I use the front camera and the back camera on my iPhone. And then I just post them. Whatever happens, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, I almost think like filtering is almost different because that's usually people editing texture on their skin and that kind of thing, and it's a whole thing wrapped up with people's insecurities, which is a different animal, and like that's fine unless you're reviewing foundation. But to actually alter the colors, like, I don't know, that's crazy to me, and I hope people stop doing it. But I just wanted to say that, and I guess also point it out. If you're ever looking at a look and you can't figure out how to dupe it, it could just be post-production. Luckily, I think this is the only palette I have to try right now. I really like to give palettes their fair shake before reviewing them. I think the next one I'm picking up is the Blend Buddy and Robert Welsh collab. So I'm looking forward to that, but that'll be several weeks away. And hopefully that's it. I mean, I kind of want the Natasha Denona Roxa, but I did hear, I heard months ago that she was coming up with a rose and wood palette. And in my mind, I feel like that would be a safer purchase if that's like pinks and browns. I don't know. Something tells me that I should really hold out for that. Roxa's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I sort of feel like I have so many indie palettes that cover that. And granted, I have not seen swatches yet, so that could sway me, and the Sephora sale's coming up, so I might have a moment of weakness, but hopefully I stay strong and I don't get that, and I don't get the Makeup by Mario. What draws me into the Makeup by Mario is the wet shimmer toppers. They're so finely milled and they're unique. However, I'm happy with the ones I have. Like, I don't use them because I don't like the formula. So I don't know why on earth I need more. I need to just be satisfied with what I have. So I don't want to get the Makeup by Mario. I don't want to get the Roxa. It's really hard with the number of Halloween palettes that come out because Halloween is my season, but I'm trying to stay strong, and I appreciate that Nomad went in this direction instead of another Halloween palette. I think it made it a little bit different, and their last two Halloween palettes were great, so they didn't really need to make another one just to make one, so I appreciate that. Oh, before I forget, if you do pick this palette up, you will get a postcard that has a website on it, so you can get a free candle. Now, the issue with that is it is a free candle, but you have to buy something else on the website. And Nomad does not have a lot of inexpensive things. So I went with their cheapest thing. I got one of their travel palettes for $19. I'm not mad about it because I kind of wanted one of those palettes anyway. So for $19 plus, I think $5 shipping, so the total came out to 25 something. Like, that was worth it to me. To enter the website, you have to play a word game with the palette. Yes, it's just clever marketing, and they're going to make a ton more money on selling product than they are on giving away these candles, but I don't care. I thought the word game was really fun. I was excited to play along, and I'm really excited to get my candle in the mail. So if you're interested in that at all, if you're like me and you spotted that candle in their promo images and you were like, where's the candle? That's how you get the candle. So, I'm sure people are going to give them a hard time for that, but I don't really care. I think it's fun. So that's where I stand on that issue. Anyway, that's really all I have to say for today. I have a bunch of Sephora stuff coming up soon. Hopefully that'll start coming out next week. And wherever you are, I hope you're having a beautiful day. I love you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.